We're in Sefton Park today in Liverpool. We're going to join a gathering which is just saying we've had enough of this lockdown. It's gone on and on and on. We don't see the point of it anymore. I think this COVID virus is in total retreat now. It's over. We want to get back on with our lives. What's it all about, this social control? What do you think it's about now, Keith?
I think it's about taking our controls away and all our freedoms, and we've just lost it overnight. We've just given them all up, Paul. You know, it feels like it's in less than just over a month. It feels like we're living under communism. I feel like we're living under the communism.
There was a genuine fear of this virus at first, so the public bought into that. But now we've seen the death rate. I mean, that guy Neil, what was his name, Neil Ferguson, he said there was going to be 2.5 million deaths. He terrified everyone, like they did with, remember the mad cow disease. But the reality is, the number of deaths has really been a trickle, and it's been in the over 70s department, which the flu epidemics normally hit hard. I mean, an average flu epidemic will kill maybe 60, 70,000 people in this country. So far they're saying maybe 30,000 people have died, but the average age is something like 77. So it's no big deal in compared to the normal flu epidemics. But the overreaction has been incredible, and people have bought into it. But why do people have such faith in the government? Haven't people realised that the media and the government are manipulating them all the time?
I agree, Paul. You know, 98% recovery rate, and the world's gone on lockdown, Paul. And how many people are dying from not the corona? How many suicides? People losing the bit. In the long run, people are going to suffer. People are not going to be able to recover. This is going to bring hardship on every country, sickness, and people losing their homes. The longer we stay on lockdown, the longer
the economic consequences.
The economic consequences of this. It's unimaginable, really, to be honest.
Well, I've got friends and relatives who work in the NHS, and I've been told that the hospitals are effectively empty. The coronavirus wards are totally empty and are being shut down. People aren't turning up for their normal medical appointments. People are postponing their cancer treatment. All this is going to create a lot of problems down the line. So we've got to show some common sense and basically say, let's get back on with life. There's a risk. Maybe there is a risk it will kick off again. We're talking about a second wave. It might just be fear-mongering. Nobody knows. Usually these viruses come and they go and we move on. I mean, 3 years ago, I got a very severe virus in my gut. And it was a common virus. This went around the city, and I was sick as a pig. I thought, the pain I suffered through that was horrendous. It could well have been a type of coronavirus, COVID. These COVID viruses are not new.
No.
They've been around a long time. They come back in different forms. Why this time did we want to not only shut down the economy, but shut it down for weeks and weeks and weeks, 7-8 weeks, real economic damage? Is this politically driven? Is this an attempt to damage Trump and damage the Brexit case?
Yeah, without a doubt, Paul. After the first few days, I knew that the Democrats tried Russian collusion. They tried to impeach him with unbelievable charges, paying women to say that he'd sexually. They tried everything to bring him down. The man's withstood everything, and it's just before the election, and this was the last throw of the dice. They had to bring something big, and the only way, the economy in America's never been in a better shape. Jobs, it was booming. He'd have walked it. They had no. The Democrats candidates stood against him. Bernie Sanders, two old men. One was like a Marxist communist, and the other one has got links to, I don't know, paedophilia.
But the weird thing is, Keith, when Georgia said, the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, said, look, the lockdown's over, we're going back to work. Get back to work, open the factories, mix again. We'll see what the risk really is. And of course, the Democrats said, there's going to be mass fatalities, the death rate has actually fallen now. Yeah. I think less than 1,000 people have died in Georgia, and that's mainly in Atlanta, the capital city. Now, that's now in Florida. They've totally lifted the lockdown. And again, there's been no increase in cases or deaths. Florida, Georgia, Texas have got the lowest death rates in America. New York, where they got the strictest lockdown, has had over 30,000 casualties. And you know the reason for that? Because the governor there, Cuomo, has been sending sick patients back to nursing homes, and they've been spreading the disease amongst the old. It's almost as if By locking them down and forcing them to stay in these nursing homes, he's carried out a mass culling of the old people in New York. And these are the people who are pointing at the Republicans and saying, you're being irresponsible for ending the lockdown. These are the people who have they're creating this crisis. And, you know, thank God Trump has finally said, it's over now. The lockdown's over, and anyone who's carrying on with the lockdown is pursuing a political purpose. And we need to end it in Britain straight away.
The people in America have realised, I think now, it is to bring Trump down and crash the economy, and they know it's political, and they're starting to rise up and demand going to Congress or going to wherever they live, demanding to go back to work. They want to open in their businesses. Now we're a bit behind that in Britain, but I think that'll come. That people will realise we're in the same boat as America. We're always a little bit behind, but the people have got to wake up in Britain. If they want to save the businesses, we've got to demand to go back to work. You've opened the schools. People,
yeah.
I know the Labour Party in this city in Liverpool don't want the schools to open but what about the parents going back to work? If they can't go back to work, if they've got the kids, you know. So
well, the amazing thing is the kids don't actually get the virus or don't suffer from it. The teachers are all around under 50, largely under 50, so they're not going to really suffer. So why are they so cautious about reopening the schools? It's almost as if they don't want to reopen the schools. Let's get back to normal. Now, we've got a case in London, I don't know if you're aware of this, Paul Golding's case.
Yeah.
Paul Golding's been charged with terrorism for what? For refusing to allow the British police to enter his personal data in his laptop and his phone without a warrant. He was defending his own private space, and for doing that, coming in back from Russia, he's been charged with terrorism. There was no inkling that he was involved with any terrorism. He's got no track record of being involved with any terrorism. It's state abuse. The state have used this. It's called something 7, Schedule 7. They've used this Schedule 7 to criminalise Paul Golding, and there's a trial on Wednesday at Westminster Magistrates Court. Paul was going to have an assembly there of supporters, and speeches were going to be made, but the police have said no, ostensibly because of COVID. They said anyone who attends that demonstration or anyone who organises it will be criminalised and will be charged. So, I mean, the state, again, it's taking away our rights. It's using this COVID to prevent people from expressing their opinions and protesting against an injustice they see. So Paul's facing this case on Wednesday, and we wish him well. He could be imprisoned again for nothing, effectively. And this is the state abuse of power we see in this country. And he's talking about America and people there. You know, there's so many demonstrations now against the lockdown. The Americans have the spirit of liberty. It's our country. It's not for the government to impose themselves upon us. The government's supposed to represent us and facilitate us, make our lives better, make our freedoms more accessible. But instead, they're treating us as if we're sheep to be herded and penned in. And it's wrong. We need to assert ourselves and say, look, this is a free country. We should have freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, and freedom to protest. The Americans have still got that spirit, and Trump's rekindled the spirit. But in this country, there's a sort of passivity in the face of state oppression. What can we do to break that?
Well, I'd like to think we had a leader like Trump that gives you, you know, he empowers the people. He is for the people. We need a leader like that. Boris, I hope he is that man. He's been ill and sick, and now we haven't seen the best of him. I'm hoping he comes to the front. He was brilliant over Brexit, but he needs to give the people. The people voted him in a massive majority. We rejected Labour, whatever it is, the left. They let us down. They sold us down the river. So we need Boris, but he doesn't seem to be. I don't know if anyone's pulled the plug from underneath him, but he seems to have gone quiet. And I'd like to see the people want to see, leadership from him, because Boris must know that this is like a coup here to bring him down as well. He's only been in the job a few months, and we know that Corbyn won't done anything. They'll be just as bad as the Democrats.
The anti-Brexit people.
You've got Nicola Sturgeon in Scotland and trying to take Scotland
away as well.
Keir Starmer, who, they all want to break the union up, and they want to take Wales away and Scotland, and we need to unite the nation like we did over Brexit. Really, we united and we get a massive majority, and we need Boris to stand up for us now.
We need freedom back in this country. There's too much immigration, there's too much abuse of this country going on. There's too much abuse of our welfare state going on, of our health system by health tourists. But I'll just finish on this, Mike. There was a guy in this city called John Lennon, and he raised a famous chant, "Power to the people." And that's really our cry. The people, we're a populist movement, a national populist movement. We want to see the people stir again, the people assert themselves, and the people take back control of this country and stop the injustices that are being imposed on us day after day after day. This is a populist rebellion against the elite, and overthrowing this whole lockdown nonsense is part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.